Welcome to Landscaping Podcast. My name is Joel Barnett and I am your host. And in today's episode, I'm talking with Sam Langham from Outside Indulgence Pools and Landscapes. Sam runs a design and construction company based in the southwest of Sydney. And I like the way he goes about things. So throughout the chat, there's different ways that he mentions how he does things. And it's not the sort of standard way to run a business. It's probably a good way to do it, but he focuses on the 1%ers, so the smaller things, not just doing the landscaping right, but looking after the customers and looking after employees and making sure the business is running properly and getting the right people to be doing the right processes. So it makes sense when he says it, but it's something that's good for businesses to be doing. So you'll pick up on that throughout the chat. And something else that he said, which I found interesting, was how he gets his wife to do the Instagram posts that they do. And that's specifically so that because that's the sort of audience that they're targeting. So it's a different, what he would post is different to what she posts, and what she posts is a lot more successful. And we do mention a couple of posts that have gone really well. And also they've got a post pinned to the top of their Instagram page, which lists out all the things that they do in their design process and construction. And that's really a great bit of information. So again, it was another great idea. So there's plenty of them throughout this chat. And he also discusses one of the techniques he used to get better, which basically just by working with people who are in a better business position than what you are, so you can learn from them. So there's a lot to learn from this chat with Sam. So hopefully you enjoy this chat with Sam Langham. Sam, thank you very much for joining us on the Landscaping Podcast. My first question for you is, how did you start in the industry?
It's something that I get a lot of. I guess it's always something that I've known I've wanted to do. I've always been I've been always really attracted to the outdoors, even as a young child. I think it's crazy to say that my old man, who worked in the bank for 30 odd something years, but, come the weekends, was always outside in the gardens, doing the lawns. And, I think even just the smell of the grass and things like that, working around the pools, helping him do that was something that was always really attracting for me. I was never an indoors kid. Always wanted to get out in the fresh air and kind of build things, construct things, even if it was a jump ramp for the bike, Dad, I'll do it. I'll grab the hammer, the nails. I'd go to his tool shed and I'd do all that myself. And it was funny, I always kind of knew that there was some sort of path there for me, but I wasn't 100% sure what path it was. But, life sort of goes on. I had a brother who was 6 years older than me, and he became a landscaper. And it was a bit of monkey see, monkey do. I'll throw my hat in the ring with that and see how I go. And I worked alongside him for, quite a few years there. And we formed our own little small business company. We're doing a lot of like paving and landscaping and just working for some packaged homes and really basic stuff, mind you. That was kind of the draw card, I think, seeing my brother doing it, always aspiring. And, he was a very capable landscaper at the time, and I always aspired and looked up to my older brother, as you do. And, I kind of felt that the diversity, you're never doing the same thing. It's different day, different weather, different temperatures, all these things, I know it sounds crazy, but it was always, really attractive for me, and it still is, even to being 40 years of age now, still really attractive to that. You never know what's sort of around the corner. You never know what client's going to give you a ring and, hey, here's this job, and it kind of blows your socks off to think I'm going to be a part of that. So yeah, that's probably the most attractive part for me. And, like you said, getting back into it, I think it would have had to have been, a little bit of my brother, but also my dad, funnily enough, just always encouraging us to be outside and just getting in amongst the garden. Yeah.
So you worked for your brother straight out of school?
I was a year 10 leaver. Yep. I knew I wasn't going to go through to year 12. Humble enough to say that I was never a strong academic kid. But I think as time gone on, maths, English, all these things have just superseded and, surpassed my expectations. I mean, we do it every day, maths for calculations, English, communicate to clients and whatnot. But yeah, I think, as time gone on, straight out of year 10, so I was sort of hitting my brother up because he was doing an apprenticeship, and then he was just about to go into, I think, his tradesman role. And I believe I got to the point where I said to him, can I come and work for you? And the fella he was working for at the time, I did maybe a year's worth of work, just casual work, a little bit here, a little bit there. I think I was getting maybe $300 in the side of the pocket. That was fantastic for me at the time, straight out of school, a little bit of fuel money, really. But yeah, afterwards, I think we kind of eyeballed each other and said, you know what, let's go and do this for ourselves. And we gave it a red hot crack. There were so many things that were well out of our depths in, but it was good. It was a really good learning curve. I think it kind of cemented the foundation for us guys, what to expect, sort of going in and growing older when business came along again. So, next time round, and obviously with what I'm doing now, even just learning back the stuff I did way back when, it still comes up pretty common today. So,
So what was their business called when it was the two of you?
It was J&S Paving and Landscaping. So that was obviously Josh, my brother, Sam, and Paving and Landscaping. And we were doing a lot of paved driveways for, say, Clarendon, Westminster, Alum, and Marston Homes, I believe it was. And we used to go around and just sort of do the basic house and land packages, a little bit of brick edging, mainly a paved driveway. When then we're talking 20 years plus more now, 20, 25 years ago. That was the rage, paved driveway. And, well, it kept us going. There was a lot of work, all these new sub-development areas, what sort of attracted us to go and, one after the other. And it was good. Look, don't get me wrong. It was nice, but there was also hanging on our shoulders a lot of, the job security was probably the biggest thing, the unknowing. Are we going to get that next driveway? Are we going to, have that guy ring us up or the supervisor ring us up? So there was a lot of uncertainty in that company of ours as we were going, because we were so young and we were so unaware and a little bit naive as well. And so that job scarcity and the, kind of looking out and always having our eyes and ears open for people that were after work and, maybe just even some labor work, it kind of dragged our career paths around a little bit, which I think was good because it gave us a lot of diversity and, opened up our skill set by working with other trades, other subcontractors, from carpenters to concreters, a little bit of civil work and drainage work. So, yeah, we got pulled around a little bit, to keep money in the pocket at the end of the day. But it's funny that we always formed back around landscaping somehow. We always naturally gravitated back towards the landscaping platform, which was great. I think it was one of those things, Joel, that was almost, a bit of a meant to be.
Yep.
It really lets me get out my creative passion and, my creative side. And I think that's something that's really important. I say it even to my guys in my team, find something you're passionate about and really try and surround yourself with that. I think it's very important.
So, and how did it, like, does your brother still work with you now, or how did that end up?
Funnily enough, yeah, he does. So me and my brother, we would have worked together for about 15 years, I reckon, Joel. And what we did, and funny to think that, it's only me and my brother in our family, we're very close. And I guess when you're a little bit younger and I guess a little bit more hot-headed, we were still level-headed enough to be able to work together really well and understand, each other's positions, strengths, weaknesses, who could do something a bit better and say, hey, I'm going to help you build your skills to do this as well. And I always understood it, and it was an unwritten rule for me that I was always under my brother's wing, and that was just the nature of the game that we had going. But I say to a lot of people, it was a really well-oiled machine when we used to work together, because we had our own language, our own sense of communication. Didn't even have to talk. We look at each other and say, yep, you're on the brick saw, you're doing this, you're cutting that. And that's kind of the way it went. We let it go that way because we obviously reaped the benefits of how good things were. And getting back to what I was saying about kind of, our career path, moving from one trade to another trade and sort of soaking up all these benefits from doing that, again, naturally gravitated back towards landscaping. And I reached out to, probably at the time, one of Sydney's leading landscape companies. And I, again, throw my hat in the ring, put my hand up and say, hey, we're here. We're looking. I heard you guys are looking as well. And, based in Sydney, in the eastern suburbs, I thought these guys might be a little bit of a stretch. I was a little bit reluctant to even think that we were going to get maybe asked to come in and have a meeting with these guys. But they did. And they reached out to me a couple of days later and they said, Sam, come in, bring your brother. We like what you're kind of, offering, and you're making the right noises. And so we went in, we sat down with a couple of the directors, one of the managers, and again, I think it was just naturally hitting it off with the guys and having that sense of connection because, yeah, we're passionate about the industry. We never went in there and said, hey, how much money are we going to get? What do you guys do? This is what I can do. We were never beating our own chests. We always just wanted to go in there and have a bit of an understanding of what they were doing. What can we learn? But hey, this is what we can offer as well as a bit of a team here. And they seen that in us. They said, this is a good opportunity for us to set up a whole nother team within this company and we'll pair you up with a young apprentice. So it ended up being myself at the starting point as the leading hand, my brother as a project manager or foreman, and we had a young apprentice sort of just slide straight underneath us. And it works great. We were with one of those companies for the best part of 10 years, and my brother and I worked together for 10 years. And towards the end of it, we started to sort of separate a little bit. My brother went off and he was project man a lot of, pools and gardens. And then they kind of seen the ability in me to write, okay, we now want to separate you guys because we want you to be a manager now. We want you to take that responsibility role. And funny to say that I was, excuse the French, I was kind of shitting my pants a bit. Of course, I'd been under my brother's wing for so long. I was a little bit reluctant and a little bit scared and hesitant to go out and kind of do this next part on my own. Because my brother was always there as a bit of a safety net, hey, mate, it's going to be all right. And yeah, you're all good, mate. Do that. We've got it covered. And it was good to have that bit of reassurance on your back was kind of what was, building my strengths. But, a year had gone past and I started to build that confidence and I realized, hey, I've been doing this for so long, just have that trust. And I was okay, you know what I mean? And they seen that as well. And then they sort of pushed us into some really good roles within the company. And the company went through a bit of a restructure. And I think, by that stage, I really knew that I wanted to do something for myself. I had ideas, I developed ideas, I got these skills. And I thought, I want to go and make myself proud. I want to make my family proud. And that's where, I was starting behind the scenes, just thinking about it. How do I do it? What do I need to get? How do I pitch to clientele? I want to take doing what I'm doing with this high-end residential market, and how do I pitch it to the people where, one, I'm living out in the southwest corridor of Sydney. How do I take that from what they've got in there, and how do I bring it out here? How do I promote it? Who do I get involved in? And, there was a multitude of questions before I even started up this business. It was one of those things that naturally formed. Funnily enough, I had a business partner as well. Business partners come and go, and it wasn't meant to be with a business partner, but I think it was probably been one of the biggest strengths that we separated our ways there. And, I became in full control of the company along with my wife, Kylie, who you've probably met Kylie or spoken to Kylie. And with Kylie there as well, I think it's a really good little dynamic that we have. Someone like myself wanting to push forward, but having Kylie there who can be somewhat reserved as well to say, hey, just think about this, look at that from a different angle. And she can see it from outside of the box a little bit, you know what I mean? And say, hey, that's a great idea. Let's push that way. Or hang on, let's just be a little bit reserved over there. That could be a little bit risky. So yeah, it's been good. She's great on the social media side of things. And we're two really good people that can work together. I didn't think husbands and wife would work together as good as they do, but funnily enough, it does. I think, we treat it as a business relationship and not as a husband and wife relationship. And I think that's the biggest difference right there. So, yeah.
And what was Kylie doing beforehand?
Kylie, it's funny because Kylie was working in town for many years up in Sydney. She was a corporate accountant and she was doing a lot of corporate accounting for Brookfield Multiplex and a lot of the big firms up there. And I think it was our second child, Spencer, when she was pregnant, Kylie sort of looked at me and she said, I don't think I want to go back into town. And I said, well, look, tell them, let them know what you want to do. Here's the door for our company. Come and help me. Come and do this, this, and this. And she was always working part-time, you know what I mean, with us anyway. She was full-time employed in town, but there was this little part-time thing where bookkeeping, just payroll, all the things that I'm not great at, she was able to pick up those pieces, and that was honestly one of the biggest helping hands that I've had to structure this company well. And I've maintained that. She wanted to get to it, and I said, look, let's just keep it serious. Let's not look at it as a husband and wife relationship here. Let's just look at it as a business, and we work for the company. And we've always been really strict on that, Joel. And I think that's probably been definitely the breadwinner at the end of the day, the way that we approach our company. It is a company. We can walk away and we can kind of somewhat switch off. As much as people say small businesses, you can't switch off. I think you need to. I think it's really important that you need to separate yourself once in a while, sort of clear yourself, just ground yourself, take a step back and go, right, what am I doing right? What am I doing wrong? Because you're always assessing and you're always changing. And that's it's really important to have a good understanding of that. So that's something that we really strive for, and I think it's working. Yeah.
And who was the company that you worked for before you started out in Sydney?
So we worked for a company called Good Manners, Pools and Gardens. Yeah, so both Ron and Raoul, the directors of the company, they were really, really good bunch of guys, mate. I can't speak highly enough of them and the opportunity that they gave us. I refer to it as like the pedigree that was given to me, through my upbringing in the industry. And just to set the standards and the level of expectations that clients are after for that high-end residential, how to communicate yourself with those clients, maintaining communication, all these things, that was really bred into us. And I think that has probably been one of the key factors that we still rely on in this day within our company, to have that level of professionalism, if I may call it that. We're always trying to better, we're always trying to do new things, but clients at the end of the day, when they're paying big sums of contract values for pools, cabanas, landscape works, these are not a contract value to sneeze at. And so the expectations of a client when they're spending this kind of money with the company is that they want to be informed, they want to be updated. You're there at their beck and call to a certain extent, but it's also good to be firm and fair and say, hey, this is what we are, this is what we do, this is the way I'm going to approach your job. We're going to have a couple of guys here. I'll always be in contact with you. I'll be on site for a minimum 2 hours a day just to talk about the basic things. The guys are going to be fine with my guidance along the way. So we've tried to do that to our utmost best. I mean, as all company owners know, and I'm not going to sit here and bullshit anybody, you can drop the ball from time to time within a company, you know what I mean? And you might let somebody down, but it's how you sort of bring yourself back around and say, right, well, I've assessed that. I understand what I did wrong there. And, I need to do this now to obviously maintain good relationships with my clients. As we were going through this company as well, just to sort of point out, and going off past employments, coming from a company like that, and then having the skill set is one thing, but when you go into business, business is something which is a really unknown for me, and it was, great with my hands, great to, and not beating my own drum by any means, being quite skillful with my hands, and having all these different sort of trades, sort of worked on over the years. It was a point where I said, I knew I was ready to go out, but when it came to business, understanding payroll, understanding clients, understanding social media marketing, and the multitude of things, that a business entitles, we actually started working with a business coach, John Corbin from Landscapers Coach. And I think John, hands down, has been one of the, one of the strongest things that we did early in the piece with our company. And, we appointed John for quite some years. And I think, he gave us some real ideas, guidance, but, common sense things that, you need to know, or you just need to practice day in, day out. I'd say to anybody that was struggling in business, reach out. Like we were saying before earlier, reach out to another business owner or reach out to someone that is doing it better. Be humble about what you're doing. There is guys, I can sit here today and say I'm not the best at doing what I'm doing, but I'm just giving it a red hot go. You know what I mean? I'm doing my utmost best. But I'm always looking at the guys that are doing either something better or that interests me a lot, and I'll take a little bit of a snippet out of that, or, that's a great idea. I like that business model, and I could probably use that to some manipulation within my company. That's essentially what I've always been trying to do. It's not a copycat scenario. It's just understanding what other people are doing. We're all going through hard times. We're all trying to do a certain thing, but hey, I did this. I worked with a business coach. It really helped me. Yeah. Hey, yeah. Tell me all about it. You know what I mean? And yeah, they're the sort of things that I think are really important. Don't just sort of show yourself in a business, let yourself open a little bit, speak to other people and, see what they're doing. How hard is it really? Can I get some help? Can I get some insight? Because I'm sure if you ask, people will just open up a bit. It's one of those things. But
yeah, like you said, there's so many different things within running a business. So there's design, construction,
it's almost like an unwritten law, isn't it?
Yeah, there's the social media and accounting. So you might talk to someone, and the way you're doing things is probably better. Like you don't need to change for 90% of them, but like you said, there might be one thing that they're doing different, and then that improves your business.
100%, yeah. And I mean, we're all in business to be profitable, and that's where I think John was really good from Landscape Coach, to really put these things into place, to make sure that we're really hitting our targets, tracking our projects, looking at our overheads, really evaluating our overheads as time goes on. I mean, we all sit back now and go, right, what are we affected by? Weather, fuel costs, price increases with materials. If I didn't reflect back onto my overheads and all these things, I could be sitting here right now going, well, the net profit's down. What's happening? I'm just asking questions that I don't know the answer to.
Mm.
No, John was good. He was able to really, open up our eyes to really evaluate, to track our jobs and assess, where costs would be going and where they can come from, where we can pull a little bit of additional income from, like you said before, the design avenue. And because we're a company that essentially sticks to design and construct only, landscape pool building, and we don't do any maintenance. That's not an area that we were profitable in, and we don't really have, I guess, the skill set is probably one thing, but the guys behind us to target that, like the parks and gardens and the maintenance side of things, the upkeep for maintenance, especially in the residential sector. There's guys out there that do a really good job of it, but it was, humble enough for me to realize that a while back that was an avenue that wouldn't work for our company. It was probably a little bit too much that we're getting our hands involved with, where a lot was getting pushed into it for no return. And that's where we said, no, let's stop it. Let's think about the design. Let's get back to basics. Let's ground ourselves. Design is working really good. Construction's going great. It's time that I need to upskill myself, go and get my pool license. And then lo and behold, we've now had this additional contract value by having pools and landscaping. So what used to be, say, a $75,000 project, we're all kicking ourselves going, hey, 75 grand for a landscape project has now gone 150 because we're throwing a pool in there. And, we're going that and some much more now, which is really, really healthy for the business. So, yeah.
So when you started the business, were you on the tools and then gradually stepped off, or how did it start out?
Yep, on the tools, 100%. And there was no real backing off there for many years. And funnily enough, I still get out on site with the guys to, educate them, show them, and, I still want to do that because I have the philosophy of somewhat leading by example. I like to get out there with my guys, even if it's a bit of carpentry, polished concrete. It's just to be able to reiterate and to give the guys, what my brother gave me, that sense of security, but to also give them enough responsibility that they can start to be somewhat appreciative of what I'm giving them and have that sense of ownership on their projects and the sense of pride once they've completed that project, with a really good finish. It's a balance. I can't be on site every day because there's quoting, there's designing, there's consultations. There is a multitude of work in-house here that if I let this go, as I say, the locomotive of the business, the front end of the business, if it starts to slow up, the carriages catch up pretty quick. So, yeah, we've got to have a pretty good balance on that. But Joel, we're doing the best we can at the moment, mate. So, yes, we'll just keep it on the way we're at.
And what size crew do you have at the moment?
So we've restructured our company a little bit. I believe we had 8 guys for a while, and we've backed that down to 6. And we're sitting with myself, my wife, Rosa, who's also in accounts and a bit of a PA for me as well. 2 of my guys, which is both tradesmen at the moment. And then we're looking to get ourselves an apprentice as well. So, yeah, we'll bolster up towards the back end of this year, I believe, mate, just to I like the idea of having the apprentices. I like to be able to, sort of bring them up through the ranks, give them that sense that there is this level within the company that you can work your way up. But, I don't like to put a level within my company. I know a lot of guys may have some sort of, hierarchy, and, they will put some sort of levels in to say, well, you're down here, I'm up here. The way that I kind of treat it is not that. I say to the guys, there's a lot of opportunity within this company, and I don't want to sound wankerish about the way that I say it, but there's a lot of opportunity within a company where if you apply yourself, there's design, there's management, there's construction management, there's pools. There's a lot in this company where if you apply yourself and you go on a certain direction, we can start to open that up, or you can start to develop yourself within that sector of the company. But the idea of having the apprentices is to also give the guys that have been here for, say, 3 to 5 years, they have now a sense of ownership and a sense of pride that they've got this young guy that they can then start to deliver their skills to this guy and show their skills. But they're also going over it and over it again by showing an apprentice, hey, this is how you do it. This is how you do it. It's reminding my guys as well about how I shown them the same way that I do it. This is how you lay your block. This is how you drill your pins. This is how you screed your sand and screed your concrete. This is how you set your height pins. And multitude of tasks that you do on a job. So I think that's a really important thing. We've gone through the young apprentices. We've had some really, really good apprentices. I've got Mitchell, who started off as an apprentice with us. He's the longest serving member here, and he's been with us, I think, 5+ years now. Josh, and again, can't speak highly enough of, his efforts within our company. He's gone into a tradesman role now, and he was with us for probably 3 years, I believe. I look at these guys and I can really start to see the passion that they've got. And I'm hoping in some regards that it's from what I've shown them, and the style of work that we're doing, the way that I'm kind of encouraging them. This is what we've got coming up, guys. This is the fire pit area. This is that. They can be really encouraged just by the way that you approach it. I'm not a hard boss in any way, firm but fair. But I want my guys to have a voice within this company as well, because without them, I'm finding it really hard to continue on, and they need me just as much as I need them. So,
yeah.
And
like you said, when before you were talking about working with your brother, how you just, you both knew what each other was doing. That's what you'll start getting with that fellow who's been with you 5 years, because I've got 2 qualified guys who both started as apprentices with me. One's 5 years in and one's 7 years today. And when it's the 3 of us working, you don't need, no one needs to say anything. Everyone just knows what needs to get done and does it, and it's just the best.
It's a beautiful thing to see, isn't it? And, I've always been, so my brother still works with us on and off. So my brother, like I said, a very capable landscaper. And I think, I'm not trying to wear that sort of hat when I say it, but he was a very capable landscaper, and his attention to detail was always second to none. He never skipped a corner. If something wasn't right, it was done right from the setup. He always set up the good platforms. And I always say, the foundation's right. If the foundation's right, everything will work systematically from there if you apply the right fundamentals. He was the sort of guy, he would go that little bit above and beyond, but the end detail would always be second to none, and always from a very, very young age. I'm talking probably 21, 22, when we started working together. And, I'd look at some of the work we would do back then, detailed brickwork, really big block walls, massive paved driveways, cobblestone driveways, individual Spanish cobble driveways. And, the level of detail on something like that when we were finished was second to none. And I think to myself now, like some of these guys coming through, and you hear the stories of other business owners, you think, what's happened? What's dropped? You know what I mean? And I do believe that it would have been probably some of the passion, maybe the younger guys coming, and I don't want to be demographic, maybe some of the younger guys coming through and maybe just clutching it. Oh, I just want to get a paycheck, and, I want to do this, where I look at landscaping as a real career. It's a real life choice to get into landscaping. I think you have to be really drawn to the outdoors, like I was saying earlier. It's not an easy game. We keep fit, we keep active to be landscapers. We all cry the same tune, on me back, on me knees, but anyone that's passionate about it will do the right things to keep their body in check, to be able to get back out there and keep going. You know what I mean? I'm not finding excuses at 40 years of age with the bad back, and with, my knees are okay, but I'll still get out there every day and still keep it up with the young fellas, and, try and show them the right way about doing things. And kind of getting back to, what me and my brother had, I think that's where a lot of, he's shown me a lot, which is now resonating within my company. But it's good that we've been able to come back together, because he's a really good pool tiler now. So he does a lot of pool tiling and fully mosaic pools. And so some of the pools that I do, if they're not aligned interior with a pebblecrete or, cementuous base interior, if I've got the option to do a fully tiled pool, 10 out of 10, he's on the phone, mate, I need you. When can you book me in? And so he did a pool for me a little while back, and he's got another couple coming up. He's done my own pool when I had my old house back here in Harrington Grove. Fantastic job. He's obviously learned from guys as well, but he's obviously picked up his own style, and he's a really visual person that can sit back and look at something and assess it and go, we're going to change that corner next time. When the guys spray it, bring the radiuses right down to the floor. Give us this to work with. We'll work it out to full tile. That's the sort of thing that I'll look at, and it's chalk and cheese between when you use someone like that that's passionate about their end finish, to someone who's there just for a paycheck. You know what I mean? I think that's a really important part, and probably gets into, something what I'll say quickly is about how I surround my company, surrounding my company with the good guys, good contractors. I think that's a really important part, because I think you just said then, well, you've got a few guys, so you haven't got a massive team of guys, but you also rely on your carpenters, your plumbers, your electricians, guys that understand your business, and they understand who you are, and they understand how you work. We have the same thing. We've got guys that have worked with us as contractors for 10 plus years. I've got contractors that were with me all the way back to the Good Manners days, when I was working in the high-end residential market in the eastern suburbs up through to the north. So these guys have obviously understand who we are. I've gone out on my own. I'll make a phone call because I've still got good relationships with them. Yeah, I'll come out and help you out. Not a problem. And we've maintained that throughout the course of what we're doing here. And, it's a good thing that our clients are seeing that. We're not just picking up some guy out of the yellow pages and, maybe looks like he fell out of a bin, dropping his Coke cans around, leaving his lunch wrappers around. That's not what we're about. We want to try and keep it tidy and, well-maintained site. And these are the sort of guys that can communicate with our clients, and we're all on the same page. We're all on the same level. We're not getting any convoluted information back to a client, which I think is really important. So, yeah.
And you see, like you said, you've got a team of 8, but it's actually bigger when you've got reliable contractors that you can keep reusing.
True that. Yeah, it is important. And I think, again, with my guys and having contractors in there, well, I've got a contractor in there for a reason, because one, yes, it is to speed up a job, but it's also because I'm humble enough that I can't do that task, and as well as what these guys can. So if I need a tiler, we've got a tiler and we can bring him in. Or if I need a renderer, we've got our renderers, we can bring them in. But it's also to have my guys there having an understanding of what the task is, understanding the relationship between that renderer, hypothetically speaking, what his time of expectations are, what his lead times are, what he wants from us before he comes on site, whether he'll turn up, he'll bring his own sand, his cements, his clays, his concretes, all his bits and pieces, or Sam, look, just get it all there for me, mate, and I'll drop in with a couple of days. I'll give you some notice. There's all these things that you're juggling as a manager, but my guys are really good with that now because they understand who we use, and there's these specific patterns for each trade or each contractor. So, and that's, I think, as time goes on, as we all know, things become a little bit better. They become a little bit easier, and we all try really damn hard to maintain what we've got without sort of dropping the ball in those areas.
And something else I thought I saw on your Instagram page that relates back to what you're talking about with apprentices, how you like to train apprentices, and I like how that you've learned to do things properly, and that's the way you're teaching people, which is great. And I saw that you're a part of, it was back in March, you were part of, what's it called? Inspiring the Future. So you were speaking to Year 8 students about landscaping. Yeah. And I've spoken to other landscapers about how do we get more people into landscaping to wanting to do an apprenticeship, and everyone says we need to get into schools to tell them how awesome landscaping is. And then I've seen you've actually done that. So how did that come about?
So just like anybody does, and like what we've done here, mate, just reaching out, seeing someone like myself on Instagram. Jen from Inspiring the Future was great. She reached out to us. I think she probably spoke to Kylie first, being at front of house. She grabbed a hold of Kylie, and Kylie's always, trying to push me into these little quirky avenues from time to time. So I'll be on bloody TV next for all I know. But yeah, so she reached out to us, Jen, and it was just a matter of, hey, do you want to come and have a chat? This is what we do. She sort of debriefed about who they were and, what their expectations were. And I said, yeah, look, it's not a financial gain for me at all. It's more so that I can give something back to the industry. And I've got to think about it too. I've been in it almost 25 years now. It's something that, I want to start sort of giving back. I want to start to show guys, hey, look, 40 years of age now, and look how happy I am still being within the landscape industry, talking to blokes like yourself, talking to like-minded business owners. And so to talk to young kids at a school was a really easy thing for me to do. I talked the leg off there, mate. But I went out there, and I think it was a really important part. I think it's a super important part for young development, and giving them the sense that, hey, it's not this big dark world. This is a really inviting culture within the landscape industry. As much as it's a big industry, I still feel that it's really family orientated. We're all you know, we can all talk to each other. We all got the same sort of vibe. You know, we have the same sort of passions and outlets. And, you know, so I got talking to these young kids, and it was really cool, actually. We sort of got introduced. You know, you sort of talk about your business, who you are, what sort of inspired us to get into the industry, like what we've spoken about now, and how we went about it. And my biggest thing was sort of going back with these young kids. We'd go around a group of tables, and they'd all have maybe some set questions. And I said, look, just your questions are great. And I said, but I'm going to tell you a few things. And I said, I want you to sort of speak from the heart here a little bit. I said, what are you guys most scared about going into your next phase of life? What is your biggest worry? You know, and they're all like, oh, money. I don't know how to get a job. Who do I speak to? And I thought, wow, you know, like me and you, mate, we probably just picked up a phone and just said, hey, mate, this is who I am. Are you looking for workers? You know, and one thing had sort of snowballed and snowballed. Oh, yeah, I'm not looking for workers, but I know a guy. It was a snowball effect from there. And I thought, geez, these guys have been really sort of sheltered in a way, and they haven't really been educated throughout their education in school, and mainly high school, that the next career path for these guys, and that's what I'm really strong on, is a career, not a job. And I said to them, this, you guys need to be passionate about something. And I said to them, what are you passionate about? Is it music? Is it sports? You know, acting? You know, do you want to get a trade? Do you want to go to university? What is it that you're really passionate about? You know, and a couple of guys are going, oh, I like to do this and I like to do that. I said, sweet. Hypothetically, you like to do that. Okay. What's some job opportunities or career opportunities that you can get yourself set up in, and who are the people that can get you to sort of help you? And they're like, oh, I don't know. I said, look around the room. I said, look at your teachers. Your teachers are here to give you some help, to give you the opportunities as well. They know how to be able to get you into these opportunities. Speak to TAFE, you know, get yourself enrolled in TAFE. TAFE knows a multitude of landscapers, plumbers, carpenters, electricians, right? There's all these numbers that you could get your hands on. And I think it was really good. By the time that I sort of walked away, I could start to sense there was a lot of guys afterwards. It had all sort of settled, and that was the end of the sort of presentation, if you will, and the speeches. And I had probably 15 to 20 young kids come up to me afterwards, and they were just asking random questions. You know, they were really inspired, which is kind of cliche, but they were really inspired, which I thought, this is really healthy, you know. And I did a few after that as well. I want to do more, because I think it is important. I think young kids these days are really set back about how they take on this next career path within their life journey. You know, I say to young kids now, if you come to me and you would say, Sam, I've seen your company, I've seen it all over social media, or whatever it may be. I've been speaking to, you know, Josh or Mitch, or, you know, Sam, or whoever's in your company. They love your company, and I love what you guys do. And this is what I want to do for you, mate. I want to come in, I want to learn your ways. There's the door. Like, let's get you going, mate, you know. But I say to, on the same side of that, if you were to come to me and say, mate, I want to work with you and I want 50 grand, well, sorry, mate, you're not the right kid for me. You've started off on the wrong foot, and I've already got that bit of a setback vibe now that you're here for a job, you're here for a pay. Yeah, we're all here for money, but, you know, the money, I always say to a lot of people, the money will come if you're passionate about what you do, you know. And I think that's what's really important for these young kids now. There's this underlying expectation that they can go out and get a really big paycheck for doing bugger all, you know. And I think it's, yeah, a bit of an unwritten thing now, and it's, you can probably speak to, I guess, the older guys within the industry, and they say the same thing. And yeah, it's kind of sad, I guess. But
Yeah, I reckon if you show a couple of photos at one of those events where you're talking to students, show them a before photo and an after photo of a
yeah,
place that you've done. That's got to
yeah,
blow some people's socks off, because that's what I love
yeah,
about what we do.
yeah, it is. Yeah, the before and afters is, you know, it's great. We do a lot of documenting throughout our projects. You know, we do that mainly for, you know, the potential of submitting awards for the TLA. And so as we go through, we've documented it, and we just go back naturally. You know, even my young guys in, you know, Josh and Mitchell, my tradesmen here, we've got a group chat with WhatsApp, so we understand what we're doing each day, day in, day out. I'll just send them a quick message, and, you know, there's a lot of back and forth. But from time to time, the boys will go, hey, like, check out when we started. Remember all that rain we had, or remember when we dug that hole, or this happened, or remember just when we had to pull down an old arbor, and now look at the place. You think, wow, like it's really hard. You've gone maybe 12 to maybe 16 weeks on a project. You kind of can't start to remember what was like when you first began. And to go back and reflect on that, you think, well, this is cool. Like, it makes you proud. It makes you proud that your clients are walking away. You're sort of blowing your client's socks off, and you're happy. Everyone's happy. That's a good thing. It's a good thing to have that. Being commended by your clients in that way. I think it's a beautiful thing.
And another thing you do documenting for, obviously, is for your social media, and a couple of your reels have gone berserk recently. Like you've had, one's got 1.9 million views, and one's got 3.6 million views. And one of the things, like those projects look phenomenal. Like I love the one, especially with the pavilion. But one of the things I love doing on those type of posts is reading the comments.
Yeah, thank you.
Just seeing how stupid some of the comments are that get made on there. Like, do you go through them as well, just for a laugh?
Look, what's the saying? Pay no attention to that sort of level of narrow-mindedness, if you will. Deep down inside, mate, I'm a pretty humble guy, and pretty down to earth guy, and there's people out in the social media world, and like the bigger picture of all of this too, and they're out there for their reason, just to have their voice, somewhat of a voice heard, and just to get a reaction, and I pay it no attention. It doesn't affect me. What affects me in business, mate, is to make sure that my clients come out on top. I want them happy. I want them to be able to recommend our services onto other clients. Sure, we've gone through business and we haven't serviced everybody to 100%, and that's to change of our ways, change of things, and change of our services. But always growing to make sure that our clients are not seen as a number and seen as a mate, if you will. A really good bonded relationship. And the whole social media thing, mate, it goes without saying, when you start getting up into the millions and things like that, you are going to start to gravitate these people, such as trolls or just narrow-minded, twits, that'll comment and to try and get a reaction out of you, to try and unsettle you or ruffle the feathers, so to speak. It's, what, mate, it's, again, humbling that people are trying to do that, because obviously there's some form of success there. You know what I mean? So it's my way of sticking my finger back up at him, just to say it doesn't get me out of, it doesn't get me offside. It's not belittling me in any way at all or getting me offside. It's my way of sticking my finger up at you, just by being sticking to what I do and do best, I guess. So
So did you do those reels, or was that Kylie? Who gets the credit for that?
Kylie gets super involved in it, like really involved in, my hat goes off to Kylie and what she does in this company, because she's amazing. They say behind a good man's an even greater woman, and it's so true. It really is, because, both Rosa and Kylie, or Kylie's my wife, and Rosa's sort of in accounts here with us as well. The two girls, keep things really level-headed in here, and from the social media side, and, doing all the awards and, documenting all of our projects. This is what kind of amounts to having a really good feed, or a really good social media feed. And Kylie's somewhat self-taught. She was doing a degree in social media marketing as a bit of a part-time thing, just to learn, the ways and speaking to people, having a really good photographer that works alongside us, which is Travis from Hidden Leaf Productions. Amazing, and look, I wanted it to come from a bit more of a female's perspective as well, because I think they come across a little bit different to how I would. I might be a little bit clunky, a bit bold, a little bit, hey, I'm a bloke having a beer, and that sometimes doesn't resonate with certain people, you know what I mean? And I think when it comes from Kylie's side, it really does work better. I think she's got a really good eye for certain pictures, certain music and things like that. But it's a collaborative approach that she'll show it, I'll kind of proof it. Yeah, I like that, but maybe change that photo or think about the words or something like that. So 100% there's my input there. I always want to see what my work turns out like on a video or a reel, or just a standard still shot from Instagram or Facebook or any platform as such. But it has to be sort of coming from Kylie's end. That is her her better part and her better trait within the company for sure. And she's doing a bang up job. So
that's an interesting point of view. I haven't heard of getting a female doing the post because it's a
Yeah.
different viewpoint. And I reckon probably 75% of the people who contact, like most landscapers, are females as well. So they're the ones doing the initial scouting to find a landscaper. It makes a lot of
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah. There's a saying, and I don't know how true it is. I know it's true from my end, mate, but they say happy wife, happy life. And, I think of that, a lot of guys will sort of sit back for a moment and the wife will go, you know what, I want to put a pool in. I want to keep the kids happy. I want to get this house landscaped. We're pretty happy and humble enough to just jump in our car, go to work, make $1 and, come home and try and keep, the family happy. And I think, the wife, demographically speaking, may have that bit of extra time or that maybe that little bit of extra input or sense that they want to do it more than what the husband side will, the male side of the family. They may want to do it more so. And I would be, as what you just said there, Joel, is that we probably have the female side contact us more so than the male side. And if you can go and keep the wife happy and do all these things, well, hey, it's easy, isn't it? And even when I'm communicating with my line of clientele, 9 times out of 10, I'm speaking a hell of a lot more with the female side of it. And it goes without saying, I will keep them in contact. I will email them, copy in the husband or whatever it may be. But generally, it will be a lot more of the female side to keep them on side and to keep them active and engaged in what our services are all about. So, to have that, female coming from Kylie's side and that little bit of a softer touch on the social media platform, I think resonates well with the female audience, if that makes any sense. And yeah, because we, obviously you've seen some of the comments come through. We get some really good stuff from the female side, tagging their friends or, hey, how about this for our backyard? And yeah, a lot of the comments, would be, I would almost say 70%, 75% would be female comments, and the other 30% to 35%, that could just be, just a general male audience. And yeah, looks good, mate. Great work. And what I've found, the male audience is 9 times out of 10 other landscapers, landscapers that know us, someone like yourself, great job, Sam, looks good, buddy, and we'll reply back. Yeah, thanks. It's really good to hear that sort of stuff. We don't put it out there for the, the praise and the applause, but it's mainly to showcase our work, showcase what we do. This is the style of company that we are. And, we've got to have a certain direction with our company. We want to be, doing certain things. So we market those certain photos to be able to approach, and sort of have that work come at us.
Yeah. And yeah, like you say, using that photographer is working well because some of the photos are stunning on the website.
Thank you, mate. I appreciate hearing that. Yeah.
And what you do is the complete opposite to what I do, because I do my own Instagram and I'll put a photo. I'll say, oh, how cool is this cut around a downpipe look? Like just stuff that impresses me.
Yeah.
But most other people don't care other than other landscapers.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. And look, it's at the end of the day, yes, you got to make yourself happy in doing what you're doing. You know what I mean? We've got a certain target market, and I guess this went back to my vision of, when I had my previous employment and understanding what we were doing back there and the clientele. I always knew the sort of direction that I wanted to head within this company, but, sort of take it out to the southwest corridor of Sydney, because funnily enough, the clientele that we were servicing up and around the city, which again was being a bit narrow-minded from my end and a bit, demographic, that's where I always thought the money was. Hey, there's money in the city. You got to go to the city to get the market. Well, no, there is actually, a lot of people out this way that are willing, to spend good money and for good service on their properties out and around the southwest corridors of Sydney. There's places booming out here. People want the designs. They want to use the, the real architectural products and get the architectural designs done, right down to the real, just earthiest of tones with recycled brick or whatever it may be. And it's good. We can go from so many different designs out here and, pitch a landscape design with a pool and spa and, cabana or whatever you want to call it, pavilion. And to be sitting around a contract value of 300 grand it's nothing to sneeze at, but that's kind of what people are spending out here. And, me thinking, narrow-mindedly, 6-7 years ago, I would have thought that this area would accommodate for that, Joel. And yeah, funnily enough, it is now.
Yeah, right. How far out of Sydney is it?
Oh, look, we're about probably 40 minutes, mate, out of Sydney, and that's on a good run, mind
Yep.
you. So if we get, if we were to go in, midweek or just standard project in town, say the eastern suburbs, if we're to drive in, with all the peak traffic, it would take over an hour and some. And again, coming home, you've lost 3 hours out of your day, your travel time to go from here into the city. But yeah, look, it's not that we don't go into the city. We want to have the right job for us to be drawn into the city. And it's not to be, hey, we're exclusive or this or that. It's what I want to do, and if it's what I want to do, it's going to get the best out of us. And like you would understand this, mate, if it's something that you don't want to do, your heart's not in the job, you're not getting the best out of your boys, you're becoming a little bit lapsy-daisy on the finishes and things like that. And before you know it, it really starts to bite into your profits and things like that because you're getting complacent. So, I really want to have these projects that suit our company, but also have the clientele that suits who we are and that we can get along really well. And again, on the flip side of that, once it's finished, hey, we've got a really good social media platform to post with this as well. So there's a few things there that I try and, I kind of keep close to my chest, in some regards. But at this stage, mate, with what we've got booked out and what we've got for the future, it's really positive and really exciting. That's for sure. So,
yeah.
Yeah.
So what's the future look like for the business? Like, have you got plans that you're looking to change the way you're doing things now?
You know what? It's, yeah, you will have changes. We don't want to change exactly what we're doing. We want to stick to our core beliefs, which I was getting back to, servicing clients, doing that well, really mentoring our guys through their apprenticeships, through their trades, into their managerial roles, working great with our contractors and really, honing in on that core belief of our company. But yeah, definitely, the things that we would always do better is, changing our systems, our policies, look at the way that we can, maybe turn a better profit by looking at our quoting systems, looking at our margins, looking at our overheads where we could refine that, build a better service for a lower cost, because as we know, we're going through price increases day by day, timber shortages, COVID, all these things, we've got all this noise around us that just, resonates with price increases. The last thing that I want to be doing is sending off a quotation to a client that's just nil and void when they look at 300 grand for a pot plant and they go, whoa, is that all I'm getting? You know what I mean? And it's hard. It's hard to be competitive when the price increases are just going up day by day. So we're going to, look at the way that we can, maybe manage our materials, see where we can obviously, get some better prices, better rates, work with our suppliers better. That comes down to how we initiate that in-house, before we set foot on site. Working with the two girls, one being my wife and Rosa as well. Having them a little bit more integrated into the company, having them sort of report to me as opposed to me sort of telling everybody what to do, give me a break a little bit. Not to say give me a break, but I want to sort of step back a little bit from that and have, some people, telling me as well. I want to hear their voices, have that sense that they're here, they're beside me, just like a football team, mate. I need a winger, I need a fullback, I need my dummy half. I need everybody, as a team to bring it all together, to win. So it's a bit of a funny analogy to look at it like that, but it's kind of the way that I feel about it. I want everybody just as involved. You can't just have your captain running up front all the time and, expecting to score the tries. You need everybody else out around you. So yeah, I find that really important. I think that's, moving forward now that we've done a little bit of restructure in the company, to have the girls really involved and to have their voices heard, for them to tell me, hey, Sam, maybe you're not doing that right. Change that, think about that. This might have cost us a little bit here. So think about this going next time round. I need to hear that, I need to be able to, resonate with that and then make those changes for the better. So, yeah.
Like you could use an AFL analogy as well, because the best teams, like the ones who win the premiership, is usually the ones with the best worst 6 players, because you need everyone to be up.
100%.
A couple of guns at the top. You need the whole team to be lifted up at all. Yeah, playing their role.
Correct. Yeah. Look, I don't know if you've ever seen it, but there was a really good insight video to the Richmond Tigers. And the Richmond Tigers, going back a few years ago, they were, almost wooden spooners, and but a really big followed club. You know what I mean? And it had a really big following, but they were starting to drop off their memberships, and it was based down to a little bit of in-house turmoil. Coaches weren't pairing up well with the team, and it was guys looking to get out of their contracts and start poaching other teams, and sort of go that way. And so what they did, they really sort of brought it back. They honed the internal of the, let's call it a business, if you will. They really looked at the internals and they said, you know what, like, we can see the patterns here. We can see where we're going wrong. And, to turn the company, or to turn the team around and the club around to be a $3 million profitable per annum club and become one of the biggest membership holding clubs within about I think it was about a 2 or a 3 year turnaround, was amazing. But to hear the way that they did it was some of the things that even I've taken snippets of that and done with mine as well. And so what they did, it was just a matter of going, right, there was too many levels within the club. Coaches up here, managers are here, all these things, and the players felt what they were right at the bottom. And that was some of the things that they were having said, we feel that we're not valued. We feel that we're just a number with a price tag and a hired gun. When someone comes into a team or a company and they just felt they're a hired gun, well, what's their purpose? They didn't have a sense of purpose or a sense of belonging, or they had a sense of ownership because, they were owned by the club to pay, run as hard as you can, kick as many goals as you can, shut up, do your job, here's your paycheck, and no one in their lifetime should really go through that, and they weren't really appreciated for that. So what changed the dynamic of that and the mindset of the company again, but the club, that's when they really started to bring it around and became a premiership winning club with, I think, 2 or 3 premierships under their belt, and one of the biggest membership leading companies, clubs. So yeah, it was really cool, and it is a good analogy, because you can take little things like your own business, but again, just manipulate it to make it work.
Yep. Yeah, I think it's fascinating seeing how they set some goals of what they wanted to achieve, and one of them I think was winning 3 premierships by 2022, which they did. Unfortunately, my team, St Kilda, made the same prediction back in the day, and they didn't win any premierships. So it doesn't always work out.
Yeah, cool, man. Well, we're big time Swan supporters up here, mate. So we're nosing our way up the ladder at the moment as we speak. So yeah, no, I really enjoy the AFL, and so does my 2 elder boys in my family here. We've got 3 boys, but yeah, the 2 elder ones, mate, they're right into it at the moment. It's it's a really good family orientated game. Great to go out to the matches. We were just out last weekend actually to the SCG to watch the derby with the Sydney Swans and the GWS, Greater Western Sydney Giants. So it was good to put a good number on them and sort of push our way into the 4. So
what else do you do outside of work and the footy?
Oh, look, we sort of bit of everything, really. I like getting down the beach. Love surfing. Don't get down enough. And, as anyone says, I like to play golf, but never hit the ball enough, or never give myself, time to go and play. But yeah, surfing, probably one of my biggest passions. I do a lot of mountain bike riding, a lot of enduro riding, and yeah, golf. I'd like to say I'm a professional buyer of all the equipment, but an absolute hack on the course. So I think that sums up pretty much everyone.
Well, you get good value out of your clubs then. You're using it plenty of times.
I do, mate. Yeah. Look, it's good to go out for a corporate game or something like that once in a while, maybe take some clients out, or, even just go for a knock, even with my dad. My dad's great, and it's been funny, man. Like my grandpa, awesome player. As he gets a little bit older, never a big hitter of the ball, 150 max, but around the green, they were just absolutely surgical. And my dad's the same, he's not a massive hitter of the ball. The same, he'll go and buy all the gear, but, he's able to use it. And that's the difference. I'll go and do the same thing, but I can play okay. I can get myself around. I can shoot, maybe sometimes below 100 and get in the 90s. So I'm okay with that. And the reason why I'm okay with that is because I don't play every day.
Yeah.
It's a game of consistency. And when I don't play every day, I've got to be able to understand that I'm not just going to chuck me bag into the bloody drink and get the shits about it and walk away from it forever. It's one of those things I can go out, clear my mind, and just enjoy the game for what it is and for what I can play it for. So yeah, it is good. But yeah, dad's been really good, mate. He lives in a beautiful spot of the world down south coast of it's a place called Mollymook down near Ulladulla. And it's down the south coast of, sort of between, where are we? It'd be down, do you know Bateman's Bay at all? You ever heard of
I know the
Bateman's Bay?
name. Yeah, I've heard of
Yeah, so they're
Mollymook.
down that way a little bit, from where we are, 2.5 hour drive. So it's a good little drive to get away for a week, and a nice little house down there. And so he's retired, mate, in the bank for 30 odd something years. He's retired now, and he was playing about 3 days a week, I believe. So yeah, it was good.
Yeah, nice.
He goes really good at it, and he's the same as Palm. Not a big hitter of the ball, but around the green, surgical. And again, it's one of those things. It's like a monkey see, monkey do, and I think it's more so that I pick it up as well, to have that that sort of relationship and that bond with Dad and my brother as well. We can all kind of bring ourselves together, and have that conversation around a game of golf, which is really nice. So
Yeah.
don't want to let that go just yet. So.
No, it sounds like fun. Oh, Sam, yeah, it's interesting. I'm
Yeah.
looking forward to following along your business, because like talking to you, you can just tell that you're doing things the right way, and you're also looking to build the business by doing little things, like not just doing the landscaping great, but running the business properly as well. So you can see it's just a great recipe.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, look, I really appreciate you, sort of reaching out to us, but also taking the time to, just have a general open conversation, Joel. I think, it's humbling to say, and hear it from you. We're doing the little things right, and we're trying our best, and we don't want to be the we don't want to be the best, we don't want to be the biggest. We just want to be super happy in what we do, and just mosey on through life, and make sure that we are keeping ourselves happy and keeping the team happy. And as we all know, mate, it's it's hard to try and find the really good guys out there, and it's trying to find the unicorn sometimes. But if I can develop my guys into something that's I'm really proud of, which I am, and to have these guys surrounding me, it's warming, it's comforting, it's peace of mind that I have at the end of the day, that I've got these guys within my company that have definitely got my back. You know what I mean? That I've got days where I'm off my game, and I've got a lot of things going on in my mind, and these guys can really step up to the plate and say, mate, we've got you, we've got your back. You sort yourself out, go and deal with that issue or whatever it may be. And these guys step up to the plate time and time again. It's a really good thing to see that. And I guess that comes down to they have an understanding of my passion, and they're taking a leaf out of my book, and they're taking some of that passion that I have, and they're using a lot of their own and their initiative to get through it as well, which it's an awesome thing to see. Really, it is good. But no, it's been good, man.
Yeah,
it's awesome. I think things like this, podcasts, and having other landscapers on, and just going through the motions of, hey, how's your business running? What do you do? I think it's such a super, super healthy thing for us all to be doing. And mate, I think you're under a really good thing here too, just kicking this off and getting it moving, because, from me looking in on it, mate, it's, it'll have big traction soon. Like we know with social media, podcasts are becoming a really big thing. But yeah, hopefully people listen in on it, mate, and they can take something out of it. So yeah.
Definitely will. Yeah, 100% they will. So thank you for contributing to it as well and being part of that.
Anytime, man. It's been an absolute pleasure, for sure.